Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Jaster. My name is Junior. So today, let's go ahead and take a look at Hasbro's Star Wars 3.75 Vintage Collection line from the Ahsoka series. Two figures, Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati. So I'll say this, the portrait of the late Ray Stevenson looks really quite cool. Almost regal on the way they have him. And then the choice of photograph for the Shin Hati character also is, I like it. I don't know why. I really do like the look of this actress. I know she's kind of like a Sith character, but I like this. The design of her, almost like a wistful, lost character. At least that's what I'm seeing in this photograph. But yeah, let's turn it over and see what's going on. Nothing much really. The usual multilingual description at the very right over here. And yeah, that's it. Let's go ahead and open it up and see what's going on. So there they are out of packaging, and I just wanted to show really quickly what's included in the figures. Baylan Skoll has his lightsaber and the unlit lightsaber. Shin Hati has her own lightsaber and again the unlit lightsaber. So let's go ahead and do close-ups of the body, the face, and let's see what's going on. So there is a close-up of the Baylan Skoll figure. That's as close as I can get. Remember, this is a 3.75 figure. And oh my god, man, I'm telling you, for something this small to have so much paint application on this face is amazing. This is the reason why I'm fully supporting 3.75. Only because of the amount, the size of the canvas that they're literally doing this face on is amazing. Now, is it 100% looking like Ray Stevenson? Of course not. It's a small thing. I don't know though. I think this might have been a scan. It's gotta be for something this detailed. Like it even has the eye bags underneath. It captures the wideness of the tip of his nose. Honestly, this could be better. This could be better with a custom paint application, but not much more. It could only be better by really bringing out the sculpt on this face, because I believe it's there and I believe it's very strong. The weathering that they're doing on the armor, I like it. It's a bit haphazard, unlike what's going on with the face. And also I don't know how they would ever be able to capture the fact that his armor is more like a pleathery fabric armor. It's not really metallic, and this makes it look like it's a metallic armor. And I'm pretty sure it's got something to do with the fact that the wash and weathering they're doing in this one just looks like a patina. Patina is basically a reaction that's going on with the metal. And that's what it looks like. It's just so big. And then look at that. There's actually some sort of paintwork going on the belt buckle as well. So lots and lots of interesting texture that's going on in the lower skirt, which obviously at this scale it's too big, but you know, I think it's well done. Just well done. Even has the straps here in the boots. Now most of the paint application seems to have just basically concentrated on the upper part, and everything else underneath is just bare plastic. And understandable, I think. I'm just very honestly, just as I've said in Marvel Legends, concentrate on the face, and that's basically where I'm at. Look at that. There's my fingernail. Look at that. It's half of my fingernail, guys. Now here is Shin Hati. Now, as good as Baylan Skoll is, this is still a good sculpt and still a good paint application. I just don't think they captured the likeness of the female actress in this one. Um, and I don't know where it failed, but it looks like maybe it just needs a little bit more darkness around the eyes. A little bit more depth is missing. But if they, I mean, again, this one, it's possible they did a facial scan to make it look more and more very much like the actress. But as I've said previously before, when it comes to women or Asian features or anything that has a very, very smooth feature, it's very hard to capture a likeness. And even if this is a live scan, the fact that it's so small, you can't really accentuate a lot of the facial features with just makeup. Um, but I think it's still a good portrait. It just, especially the hair too. The hair is again, it looks good. You have to remember this is small. Look at the farther you go away, the better it looks. The hair, but the thing is, the hair just looks like one big mass, and I think it's understandable. Now, for her armor, it doesn't seem to have a lot of weathering, unlike Baylan's Skoll. I think what would have made this successful is to matte down the armor as well, because her armor is similarly made with Baylan, where it's not really metal, but more like fabric. This is, look at the texture that she's got on her skirt. That will be, this is a finer detailed texture, and I think that would have been much better had they done the same thing with Baylan's Skoll. Um, because it fits more. The detail is more finer and much better. And she happens to have more paint app on the bottom. Maybe it's because of the design, so she gets to have the silver here in the bottom, whereas Baylan's Skoll was just plain um, plastic. Look at that. It's even got paint application here and here. And I think she does have some sort of paint application going on in the pauldron as well. This is Baylan Skoll's lightsaber, and I'm not very familiar when it comes to lightsaber design, but this is probably the first one that I've seen that actually has a guard on it. I've always thought lightsabers are kind of not only dangerous because it's supposed to be this destructive beam of light that's solid, but more importantly because their hilts, they don't have guards. But I suppose guards won't matter when it comes to these lightsabers. I'm always going to advocate one of the things that makes vintage collection better than the Black Series is having a saberless lightsaber included in their offering. Because now I don't have to worry about pulling off this lightsaber from the hilt and breaking it off because it's already included. And look, differently painted. This one looks like this one has more of a silvery paint, but the one on the hilt doesn't have it. Maybe it's just on my copy. This is Shin Hati's lightsaber, and I'm amazed to see that it's got a very nice silvery paint application in there. It's silvery, more like chrome. Yeah, this part looks like it's silver, but this one has a more shiny to it, shiny aspect to it that looks like it's chrome. And again, they include a saberless lightsaber hilt. So before we start the actual review, I wanted to point out the size differences between the two. Not necessarily exactly what it should be, because I'm looking at a picture right now or image stills from the series, and I think Shin Hati should be around here. From the images that I'm seeing, the top of her head is resting slightly below Baylan Skoll's nose, so I think that should have been the proper height. but at least it still shows her as smaller than Baylan Skoll. Another advantage that they had over their Black Series counterparts, because as you can see here, if I have them side by side, they're almost the same height, Shin, Hati, and Baylan Skoll, which is not what it should be. But that's been addressed before by the Star Wars community, that the figure of Baylan Skoll is just slightly too short. But also, and it's kind of unfair to do this, but like, look, I want to point out the design of his chest on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4 before it hits, while in this one it's 1, 2, 3, and it's almost hitting the belt. So honestly, if you want to customize this, you should be able to add a little bit of height to Baylan Skoll by increasing this. His should be like this already. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should technically be like that. And that just that little bit might be enough to increase the height difference. It should be like this, right? And notice how much more height he needs. Anyway, that's it for the Black Series comparison. Now let's look at the articulation for each individual figure. Baylan Skoll, good enough range for something that doesn't have a joint here, unlike the Black Series. Not a lot going down. Wiggle, waggle, turn it all around. The way this thing's constructed is very much like what I've been seeing in the Black Series, where the pauldron is connected inside some sort of ring that's being sandwiched in between the chest piece and the arm. So this can move freely if you want to, but of course be very careful, because that is a very thin tab of plastic that might break on you. But that means you have no hindrance whatsoever with the movement on the shoulder. Going all around, it will just like move out of the way. And of course, you have a bend on the elbow that is more than 90 because of how they designed the hinge, and an elbow twist as well. Nothing on the guard, of course, because it's so small. Wrist is all around, and an up and down articulation, which is surprisingly more has more range than what I usually see on the Black Series. The other side is going to be the same, I assume. This is on a ball joint system, so you can have a lot of movement here, movement there. Look, the vintage collection has more forward movement than the Black Series. Let's see. No, Black Series is pretty good. That's actually a good range too, though. I usually don't see that for the Black Series. Nice on the back. I can't help it. I'm sorry, guys. I have to do another comparison because I just noticed something different. Look at how wide the torso is on this Baylan Skoll, and that's good because of the armor and everything. It should be wide and big like that. Compare it to the Black Series. That would make this figure, if it was a real actor, like supremely skinny. I feel the proportion is so much better in the vintage collection than what they did with the Black Series. All right, so the skirt is basically four solid pieces of plastic, but it's malleable enough. And this is the highest type of articulation that Hasbro offers for their vintage collection. So you have the barbell joints on the hips, meaning it has full movement, and thigh articulation, which is now beginning to disappear in the Black Series. A knee articulation here that goes up to 90, and of course it has a side swivel as well. And for the ankle, can go up pretty good, can go down excellent, and it has an ankle rocker. Full articulation marks. Excellent. And I'm assuming Shin Hati will also have the same. She can look up fairly well. A little bit on the down, not much on the wiggle waggle because of the hair. She does have a twist. The shoulder pauldron is designed the same way, goes all around without hindering the shoulder rotation. And her elbow goes more than 90 degrees. Again, an elbow swivel. The wrist has a swivel, but I can't see where the hinge is. I don't think there is any hinge in this one at all. It's just basically a peg connecting it. So I guess that's I'm gonna let that pass because this thing is so thin. Honestly, I don't know how they would be able to put any kind of hinge in there, but it does have a swivel. It has the hole for the lightsaber without the saber. Her skirt is divided only 2 times, which I think it's a shame because as you can see, there's a lot of movement when you split it to 4, and they could easily have sculpted this fold so that it will maintain it, especially here. The reason why is like it's gonna hamper her kick. As you can see, it doesn't look good as it does here. Okay, yeah, see, it pushes it aside. But she has full articulation, barbell joints at the hips, thigh cut, and her knee, if we can open this up, goes at 90. Her ankle goes up slightly, goes down slightly. It's more limited by the design of this boot cuff, but she does have the ankle rocker as well. And as I said, they have the small thing here for the lightsaber. And yes, it looks odd to have a lightsaber on the belt and a lightsaber on the hand, but these lightsabers are so small, it needs to be done. But man, oh man, that looks awesome. I don't know why Black Series collectors and vintage collectors are angry at each other, claiming one is draining the funds for the other. Don't think like that, guys. We're lucky to have all these options to have Black Series and vintage collection, that the choice is yours to whichever one you want to collect. It doesn't hurt to collect both lines. I'm just telling you, because that's what I did with the Black Series. You get a little bit more detail, a little bit more paint application, even though for some reason this one fails in the sculpture department. And then you get the 3.75, which I'm telling you guys has excellent range of articulation, beautiful paint application for its size, and at the same time you also have the pleasure of being able to collect ships and dioramas that they can't offer in the 1/12 scale version because it will be too large. Trust me, it will be too large. And honestly, why would you want one singular ship of an X-Wing? Why wouldn't you want one singular ship of a TIE fighter? Of course you would have, you need at least I can't even say you need at least 2 ships. You need at least 3 or 4 or 5 in order to have an armada, that's the way it is with ships and vehicles. You need more than one, right? And with the 3.75, it's possible to squeeze in a lot of ships in the space that you're allotted for, if you have if you have a decent amount of space to display. But I'm kind of side blabbing and all that stuff, and why I'm loving the 3.75 collection. Yes, it's pricey, $17. I'm gonna tell you though, I paid full price for these two because they're on pre-order, so it's like $17 or $16.99, I can't remember. And yet I'm less disappointed in having to pay that because I am so happy with how this figures turned out. and the paint application, it just wows me. This one, I will put the value at 12. I really am quite happy with the way they turned out compared to the Black Series version. Of course, the base price 10, equaling full price at $16.99, and I still give it a value of 12. And that's basically it for my review of Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati from the Hasbro Star Wars 3.75 collection. Yeah, beautiful figures. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you guys on my other reviews. Bye.